Happy Spiritual Sunday. Happy 2025 to you all. It's great to be back together again. It's Spiritual Sunday, starting a new Gregorian year with new consciousness. I hope you had an amazing holiday season and that the light of those holidays, the light of those, as the Kabbalists explain, the 16 days, during the month of Sagittarius, we brought greater awareness of miracles, wonders, and the power that we have within us, which we're going to speak about also today. So as we have been doing, I opened up Karen's book, Simple Light, and this is what I got. The world is evolving and changing. And with this change comes much chaos. The weather is going crazy, and so too are people, it seems. Why is this? We understand that right before the dawn is the darkest part of the night. Right before dawn is the darkest part of the night. Now, more than ever before, we have the ability to enact change. The light force is the only energy that can bring an end to the chaos. Each one of us represents that godlike force. Each of us has a piece of the Creator inside of us. When we share and treat everybody with dignity, we reveal the piece of the Creator that is part of us. I'm not saying that we should be friends with everybody, but I am saying that each person, no matter who they are, is a part of the energy of the God force. And we must treat that individual with human dignity no matter what. Let that sink in. But I am saying that each person, no matter who they are, is a part of the energy of the God force. And remember, there's only one God force that we're all connected with. And we must treat that individual with human dignity, no matter what. And again, as Karen said, we don't have to be friends with everybody. And as I often share, doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. You're not endorsing their negative behavior. You're not exempting them from the laws of cause and effect because of their negative behavior. But what you are doing by exuding light and thereby treating them with human or actually spiritual divine dignity is connecting to the light of their soul and not connecting to the negative energy of their behaviors. And therefore, it's in our own best interests to connect to the light in everyone, as Karen said, no matter who they are, or as Rav Ashlag says, no matter what they do, because we want to stay connected to this infinite light. We want to expand the light that is shining into our life and therefore gives us clarity and great blessings. Let's do our affirmation, and keeping in mind that the power of the affirmation, especially now that we're starting this new Gregorian year, we want to consistently engrave in our heart, our soul, and our mind truth, the ultimate universal truth. Because universal means that it touches the only universal common factor in every human being, which is their soul. So let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So as I shared on Facebook, what I'd like to talk to you about today is the idea of redemption, and is essentially the final redemption. And so we know that every religion somewhere along the line is talking about the final redemption, whether they call it the coming of the Messiah, utopia, paradise, nirvana, heaven on earth. In one way or another, every religion, every spiritual teaching is seeking this end of all the pain, suffering, and chaos that's going on in the world. What I want to share with you today, as we just said, consciousness is everything. And so the more consciousness and understanding we have of this idea of the redemption and the exile, the more we have conscious control to accelerate the process of leaving this chaos, this last exile that humanity is in, and bringing the final redemption. And why do we call it the final redemption? Because if you look back historically, there have been cycles. Exile, redemption, exile, redemption, exile, redemption. Yes, the Kabbalists teach us on a cosmic level, we are at the end of the time we've allotted ourselves to manifest, to come to this final redemption. We are very, very close, technically about 98% of the way completed, which is why there's such an intensity of chaos and of light, love, spirituality coming to this world these last few years. Whether you understand, meanwhile, the idea of what the Kabbalists call the exiles and the redemption, Egypt, Babylonia, Persia, etc., we can also just look at it simply on a historical, cyclical level. Peace, war. Peace, war. Peace, war. It's the same idea. We have peace, and then somehow a war or wars get started, and peace disappears. That we could understand as exile. Redemption, peace, we don't want it to be temporary. We want it to be the final and lasting, eternal peace, redemption. Okay, so where does it start? If you think about it, well, I wrote down the definition of exile from the online dictionary. The state of being barred from one's native country, typically for political or punitive reasons. So let's go back to that. Exile means being thrown out of a state of serenity, peace, contentment, as they're calling it, one's native country. So if we go back to the very beginning, we can understand how it all started. We came out of the endless world into what we call the Garden of Eden, paradise, heaven on earth. So we started with paradise. Then, as we often speak about, and those of you who have been learning in the center understand, there was one human being with all of the light of the Creator that was given to humanity collectively, in that one soul that then split into Adam and Eve. And now you have the biblical story, which is a code of Adam and Eve, which is you and me, in the Garden of Eden, where we had the ability to have eternal peace. Unfortunately, as the story goes, and the Zohar unlocks the code so that you and I can make use of the technology in the spiritual universe in 2025 to be able to live paradise and to understand what happened, what went on in the story of Adam and Eve, so that you and I can not make the same mistakes. And as we're speaking today, bring the final redemption. And so what happened? Here we're sitting in the Garden of Eden, and you and I, as Adam and Eve, We're looking at the two trees, the tree of knowledge, good and evil, the illusion, the physical materiality, as we now would come to understand it, short-term fulfillment, instant gratification, and we're looking at the tree of life, eternal bliss, transcendence over the physical materiality, and unfortunately, with the help of what the Bible calls the snake, the nachash, which you and I understand Kabbalistically is that program, that opposition program that we put in our heads, that's there to give us free will. Unfortunately, we chose the physical, material, illusionary world because we were taunted, as we are today, taunted when we're not feeling completely blissed out. We are taunted and tempted to give into reactive behavior. We call it instant gratification, which is only short-term fulfillment, not lasting eternal fulfillment. And then what happened? Because the choice we made and the action we did based on that choice, we got ourselves thrown out, exiled from paradise, the Garden of Eden, heaven on earth. We did it. So as we come to understand, it wasn't God that threw us out. It was our own actions that throw us out. We sort of chose, as some people might call it, the illusion of greener pastures on the other side of the fence. Today, do we not do the same thing? Yes, if you really can be objective in your actions, when you're not feeling happy, joyous, content, fulfilled, something will come along, and with the help of that original artificial intelligent program called the adversary, the opponent, it will taunt us to go for instant gratification. Doesn't tell us that it's only short-term fulfillment and it will go away and we'll feel again that lack, that pain, that chaos, that stress. But we go for the instant gratification because it feels good in the moment. Gives us some relief from that sense of lack. So as we know, the laws of cause and effect, like attracts like, opposites repel, that is what threw us out of the Garden of Eden. Our actions, we didn't act like the tree of life, we didn't choose the tree of life, we didn't choose light over the illusion, and therefore we exiled ourselves from the Garden of Eden. We did it. You go historically, you can look at any conflict, and I just bring up one that the Kabbalists speak about. We know that there were two destructions in history of the temples of Jerusalem, the first temple and the second temple. Those temples, just if you're new or unfamiliar, the temples were an instrument, not the source. They were an instrument to take the infinite light of the Creator in the most powerful spot on earth, which is the Temple Mount. They were instruments to channel, to bring from the upper worlds into our world the infinite light of the Creator and then spread it all over the world to every human being on earth. But unfortunately, we know about 2,400 years ago, there was the destruction of the first temple. 2,000 years ago, the destruction of the second. The Kabbalists teach us it wasn't those people, the Greeks or the Romans, who really caused the destruction of the temple. It says baseless hatred among us. Baseless hatred. Or as we often call it, hatred for no reason, between us, even us, the supposedly spiritual people. opposites repel. So the light of the temple could not stay in existence, could not be channeled through the instrument of the temple because of our negative actions to such an intense degree that it brought the destruction of the temples. In the book of Esther, if you read the book of Esther, it says that the decree that 127 nations of what's called Israelites, which in our terms just means you and me, the spiritual people, the people who believe in cause and effect, mind over matter, and particularly us, the power of the Zohar and the wisdom of the Zohar that's universal, that's the technology of the soul. Because we were, and it uses the words, because we were sleeping, it left a space, an emptiness that allowed that decree for 127 nations of us to be destroyed. Fortunately, in each of these cases, we woke up, and so we prevented that death and destruction, but here we are still sitting. Chaos around the world. So we have to come and accept the idea, the responsibility that exile is caused by our own actions. It's not caused by other people. From Kabbalah 1, Class 1 forward, we teach that no matter what comes our way, no matter how people behave around us, we still and always have the choice. May not always be easy, but we always have the choice how we are going to respond to whatever people's behavior are or what the circumstances are. It's our choice. And the only choice we have, which goes back to the Garden of Eden, tree of life, tree of knowledge, good and evil. Choose the light, choose the darkness. Choose the way of harmony, order, peace, and greater blessings, or heaven forbid, the way of instant gratification and then greater pain, suffering, and chaos. That's the only choice. And we must, if we want to bring the end of this chaos, you and me who are learning here, all the students in the center, all the people around the world who are learning on Kabbalah.com, we have the understanding, mind over matter, consciousness is everything, cause and effect. No exemption, no exceptions to cause and effect. So therefore, whatever comes our way is an effect of some action we've done this life or previous lives. And that's what makes it so difficult often, because we look at this life and we say, but I've always been a good person in all this life. And I have no doubt that you and me and all the students of the center and many, many other people who are spiritually awakening and studying spirituality and making the effort to be more spiritual, we are good people. But that doesn't mean in a past life we didn't do dastardly things. And yes, cause and effect is eternal. So from the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, till today, the law of cause and effect is working. Sometimes it appears to be instant. Sometimes it can take lifetimes for those things to show up. The beauty of what you and I learn here is no matter what happens, no matter what comes our way, we have the ability of transforming, of creating order out of chaos by choosing the tree of life, proactive behavior over reactive instant gratification. So when you look at your life and you ask yourself, what are you looking for? What do you feel you're missing? What do you feel a lack of? What do you feel that you're capable to have more of. Think about it for a minute. What did you wake up today, before we met, and say, you know, I wish I had this, I'd like to have that. I'm feeling a little chaotic in this area or confused in that situation in your life. And you want peace, harmony, blessings. You want order and serenity. Why? Why do you want those things? You feel the lack of 100% fulfillment because we have experienced a sensation of 100% fulfillment. Otherwise, you could never feel a lack. You can't feel a lack of something you never had. You can't feel you're missing something you've never experienced. So as we say, and let's keep it simple for today, in the Garden of Eden, paradise, we had a sense of eternal bliss. We had a sense of 100% fulfillment because the light of the Creator fills our soul 100%. Yes, our job to make it manifest, but we have a sense internally, every human being on earth, of 100% fulfillment, which is what drives us, one, to feel a lack, and to have a desire for more and more and more. More of all the blessings of the light. The things that you feel you're missing are now, in the terms of today's lesson, the things that we feel we're missing, that we want more of, etc., are areas that we, through our behaviors, this life, past life, have exiled ourselves from those blessings: peace, love, protection, prosperity, health, all the good things. We exiled ourselves, as we spoke about in the Garden of Eden, choosing instant gratification, choosing, as we call it, reactive behavior, desire to receive for myself alone actions, making that choice created an exile. Yes, instant gratification, but then an exile from lasting peace, love, health, protection, great relationships, good family, peace of mind, all the blessings that we understand come from the light of the Creator. That's the exile. Now, also on the other side, though, I want you to also remember the good, those good things you have, as good as you are, as kind and nice and loving and generous and tolerant and forgiving, etc., and all the blessings you have in your life now. Those are also the result of your transformation, your freedom from exile, your redemption from exile. When you chose the tree of life over the tree of knowledge, good and evil, the light over temporary instant gratification. Now, how do we redeem ourselves? Okay, this is what the center's teaching us fundamentally. Yes, it's often called different things, but because of recent events, I want to keep it in this frame: redemption. So, when I was thinking of redemption, redeem, what does redeem mean? So I remember when our kids were growing up, we used to go to the arcade. And of course they play games, and some of you are familiar with it. I'm sure maybe you're still going to those. You go to an arcade and you play a game, and whatever score you get or what have you, you get a number of tickets, right? So you play the rollerball game, whatever it is, and depending on your score, you get a certain number of tickets. And you keep playing all these games and you collect the tickets. When you're just before you're ready to leave the arcade, you go to the desk and you take all your tickets and you redeem those tickets for some kind of toy, some item, some product that they have there in the shelves or what have you, in the display cases, and you give them whatever, 20 tickets for this thing, 50 tickets for this thing, 1,000 tickets for this thing, whatever it is, you are redeeming those tickets. Just comes to me, you cut a coupon out of the newspaper or off the internet. You take it to the store and you redeem that coupon for a discount on an item that you buy. So in simple terms, what's redemption mean? An exchange. You exchange the tickets for that toy, for the item at the arcade. You exchange the coupon for a discount on something you're going to buy at the supermarket or at the store. It's an exchange. It's not something free. It's not something that you get just for no reason, let's call it. No, you're exchanging one thing for another. And in that redemption, relative to our world, human life, redemption means exchanging one thing for another in order to have greater freedom from chaos, freedom from pain, suffering, and death, freedom from instant gratification and short-term fulfillment, freedom from the limitations of the 5 sense material world. That's what you and I are learning in the center. How to free ourselves from all the limitations. And what makes it difficult is we've given in for so long that it's like a bad habit. And as we all know, because I'm sure we've all tried and hopefully succeeded many times in overcoming a bad habit, and you know it is not an easy thing. Why? Because we've done the bad habit so many times, it's become second nature, second nature. This is why we call it reactive behavior. Unconscious, knee-jerk response to a certain trigger. Somebody says a nasty word, you don't even think about it. Whoosh, right out of your mouth, something nastier because you want to show them you're better than them, that they can't say that or do that to you. Unthinking. The unfortunate part is, like we say, the law is eternal. Like attracts like, opposites repel. So when a person is acting unlike the light by that reactive, instant, desire to see for oneself alone behavior, repelling the light, creating an exile, more bondage to the illusion, to the physical material world as the source of happiness and joy. The Kabbalists don't say we can't have physical material things. If you want them to bring lasting fulfillment, they need to be empowered by the light, by being conduits of the light, meaning you're sharing of your time, your resources, your abilities, your money, etc. You're sharing your light through the job you do, through the interaction you have with people. Like we read from Karen in the beginning, we don't have to be friends with everybody, we don't have to hang out with them, but we need, as Karen called it, human dignity, as we now could understand it, channeling light through them. No matter what their behavior is, we can choose, and we're encouraged for our own benefit, to reveal more of our light, to channel light through them. And let the light then give us the right words to say, actions to do, that will bring greater illumination in that situation, which will also shine not only on us and free us from more chaos, but also will illuminate those people and begin activating on a stronger, more intense level the light of the Creator in them also. Now, how do we do this? The essence of redemption is exchanging reactive behavior for proactive behavior. And yes, we said it's not an easy thing because we're so habitualized to it. But consciousness is everything. So I want to share with you a method that we use in the classes to help us, empower us, to have greater consciousness and desire for this redemption, to free our soul from the bondage that it's in of the anger, jealousy, greed, ego, insecurity, guilt, shame that we have behaved with previously, and create those veils that in essence imprisoning the pure light of our soul. So here's one method. First thing, you have to be honest with yourself and identify what your reactive behaviors are. Judgment, jealousy, ego, whatever. Now, once you've identified it, this is what I ask you to do. Identify what benefit you derive from it. How does that reactive behavior help you? And obviously it's only going to be instant, it's not going to be lasting. And this is why, as we speak about often, tikkun is the same repetitive pattern of a situation, a challenge, happening over and over and over again. Because we don't redeem our soul, free our soul from that particular reactive behavior, so it has to keep coming again and again. So, identify what you get from it, how it helps you. Meaning like this, couple examples I wrote down. You don't have to deal with a situation. Instantly you push it away, one way or another. It's less effort. Less effort to be reactive, that knee-jerk response, than to pause and start sending light, acting in a more proactive way. Also, postpone doing something that's uncomfortable. You don't want to do that thing, you don't want to have that discussion with that person, so reactive behavior postpones it. Or one more, you don't want to fail, so you don't try. Being reactive also means blaming other people, playing a victim, and that could often benefit people, not long term. Well, don't want to make the effort because might fail, and therefore just don't try. Other people didn't do it, you've tried before, whatever excuse it is. Think about. At least pick one of the reactive behaviors that you see has bothered you this last week. And look back. What do you get from it? Not facing a difficult situation, not having to take responsibility for your behavior or your past actions. Those things become the tool of that opponent in your head, using that to remind you of how uncomfortable you are in the moment and how much you want instant gratification. So now that you understand how it has helped you, even though not in a really good way, it's important to identify how that reactive behavior hurts you. And a few ideas creates bad feelings, sadness, anxious, stress, guilt, shame. It doesn't generate, other than in the moment, happiness and joy. Instant gratification, and then when it goes away comes all the bad feelings. So reactive behavior hurts us, brings on at some point, shortly thereafter usually, some kind of bad feeling. Reactive behavior blocks people from achieving success in business, successful relationships, loving, kind, light-filled relationships. And it prevents peace of mind, contentment, an inner sense of serenity. It creates more challenges, more problems, and it also can cause people not to trust you. So now, when you look at what you thought were the benefits, and now see them clearly standing against how those very reactive behaviors hurt you, you have a decision to make. How valuable is that instant gratification to you versus the difficulties, the challenges, the discomfort and pain that it causes you? Because as we say, consciousness is everything. And everything is based on our consciousness, meaning how we look at things, how we value things, how we assess things. Our consciousness decides what's valuable, what's not. When you decide, when each of us decide that the value of staying the same, the value of being reactive, the value of instant gratification is nowhere close to the value of the reward of redemption, the reward of exchanging that reactive behavior for a proactive behavior, the reward for choosing the tree of life over the tree of knowledge, good and evil. When we set a value on that transformation, when we set a value on the benefit of the light, even we have to make the effort to transform reactive to proactive behavior. When we perceive the benefit of that transformation as huge versus the benefit of the reactive short-term fulfillment, reactive behavior, then we will act in a proactive way. Recently, I had a conversation with a student, and I know her for quite a number of years. And we recently had a conversation because as her grandchild is growing up, she's assessing her relationship with him. She's assessing how he's growing up, the influence that she wants to have on him. She can see a direction that she wants to help him. And the conversation we had, because I know her, that with her own children, she's had a sense of guilt and shame for things that she did or didn't do. Of course, she loves her children. She wants the best for them. And as they were growing up, she did what she did, thinking it was good. Of course, looking back, especially as we all learn Kabbalah, you look back and you say, oh, I could have done this, I didn't do this, or whatever. And so she's tended in simple ways, like probably all of us, to sort of beat herself up with guilt and shame and blame herself for whatever she sees in her children that is not, in her mind, the best thing they could be doing. And so we had a discussion how she's now transferred that sense of guilt and shame over her own children with her grandchildren. And so she's looking at her grandchildren. Yes, she wants them to be whatever, more loving and kind and spiritual, etc. She wants them to learn, to read and write and do well in school. But she's also having a blockage. And the first time in all the years that she and I have worked together, she brought up this particular situation and was very open about her own sense within this. And so we had this discussion. She's just simply transferred her guilt and shame over her children and what she thought she did wrong to her grandchildren. So we had the talk about, like you and I just did, what about the good things? What about the blessings in your life? What about how good they are? And understand your grandchildren still have a chance because they have not become spiritually with free will, i.e., for a girl 12 years old, for a boy 13. So they are still simply open vessels, extensions of their past life. And like all of us, we all have more revelation of light to achieve our 100%. Our discussion was, acknowledge the progress you've made. And as sure I've told you before, and I tell now probably all my students, we all want to look in the mirror, look in our eyes, our own eyes, tell ourselves how much we love us, that we acknowledge we are pure and perfect beings of light, acknowledge the progress we've made, and commit to keep going. Reveal more light by facing our dark spots in life, by facing where we're not shining the light. Until we're 100%, there's always going to be some place we could look at and say, oh, I'm misbehaving, I'm reacting in that area. Sure, but if you've gone from 20 to 50% of your potential, from 50 to 70% of your potential, that's great progress. Acknowledge that to yourself in the mirror. And as I told her, as I've shared with you now, put the value of the influence she can have on her grandchildren to be more loving and kind, more spiritual, to have more consciousness to overcome their desire to see oneself alone when they become 12 and 13. Put more value on that than the sense, so to speak, as we said, the value she gets from beating herself up with guilt and shame. When the value of supporting the spiritual growth of her grandchildren well outweighs the value her opponent in her head makes her think she's getting by beating herself up for what she hasn't done, didn't do, then she'll be more motivated to look in the mirror, look in her own eyes, tell herself how much she loves her, how much she sees the pure and perfect being of light that the Creator implanted in her, that she acknowledging with appreciation and gratitude to the light and to her actions of transformation that she's been learning in the center a number of years. She acknowledges that progress and then commits to move forward. And what more can I do? How can I progress even more? So you and I have to decide, we have to decide that we want the final redemption, not redemption, exile, chaos, good, bad, up, down. No, we want now final redemption, which simply means we need to persevere with the light unconditionally. Whatever comes our way, pause, unconditionally start sharing the light. Emanate more light from your heart and soul. Don't give in to the illusion. Well, you've been doing so much and how come this happened again? No. Unconditionally pause when you're triggered, share the light. Because then you are knowing, you are acknowledging by your actions, not just intellectually. You're knowing, acknowledging, and acting. The light is everywhere. The light is infinite. The light is the only source of lasting fulfillment. And therefore, the more light we can channel out of our soul, one, we're breaking free from the bondage to anger, jealousy, fear, greed, ego, insecurity, etc. We're allowing our soul to be free and more light to shine and bring us and the world greater happiness, joy, clarity. And the light that we shine will then be able also to show us our next curtain, our next dark spot, emptiness, where we're not shining light, that next veil, that next gate of prison that's been holding back some part of our soul's light. We will be rewarded by seeing that. Because as we see it, we can transform. As we see it, we can break that gate open by transformational sharing. And as we reveal, or as we transform our reactive to proactive behavior, revealing more of our light, we manifest more of our blessings. It's essential to acknowledge we have the power of the Creator creation within us. Don't stay asleep anymore. Commit yourself to be freeing your soul from the prison of instant gratification. Consciousness is everything. So as we activate more of our soul's light by greater actions of love, kindness, compassion to all human beings, then together we can make the final redemption, final, eternal peace, goodness, unity, love manifest in our lifetime. God bless. Okay. So I want to thank you for joining us. We'll do our meditation on one of the 72 names, but I also want to appreciate and remind you, one, make sure you have at least a pocket Zohar, and I know I've been sharing also. This is easy to put in your glove compartment, your purse, your pocket, and carry it with you. It's the light of the Zohar just shines. In fact, in my travels these last few weeks, I found people, and don't limit. I mean, I found workers in the airport that I was just inspired to have a conversation with them. And I explained to one what this was. And two other people who were listening to our conversation asked if they could have these. So I gave out 3 just before I left to come back to Florida. I'm asking you, open your heart, understand, as Karen said, every one of us is part of the light force of the Creator, part of the one soul, and therefore is affecting us. So open your heart, be generous in your support of the projects of the center to help more of these go out. And or if you don't have, this is called the Sacred Zohar, which is all of the Zohar, but in Aramaic, without the English translation, but it's all the sections: health, peace, protection, forgiveness, prosperity, good relationships, etc. It's all there. So I put the link, let me make sure, I put the link on the chat here. Please be generous. Remember, I mean, all of you have studied, I'm sure, various spiritualities, the universal law called tithing, just simply returning back or giving back to the Creator from all the Creator does, giving that 10% of your income. And we can have another class on that if you message me, and there's enough of you. We'll do a spiritual Sunday on the power of tithing. But just to understand, by giving that 10%, which is related to the 1/10 of the universe that is the physical material world, where the opponent, that adversary exists, by giving that 10% to spread light, especially the Zohar, the light of the soul, you get the greatest return on that. One, you're acknowledging the gratitude you have for all that the Creator has given you and sharing it back. And as everybody teaches, it's the source of prosperity. You have to plant seeds in order to grow the fruit. So the link is there. I thank you for those of you who have been giving, and I know many of you give consistently, but those of you who may not yet have made that decision, I encourage you, especially as we've entered this new Gregorian year of 2025, and people are making resolutions. Make this resolution, resolve to act in the way of bringing peace, unity, and harmony from the soul of all human beings by supporting the spread of the Zohar. In other words, we can only distribute these as gifts to people out in the world, and especially service people, whether it's military, police, fire, community, etc., because of your generosity. So I thank you for that, and I pray that it will continue and will bring you great prosperity, that you'll be able to see the results, see the power of being generous, and be able to be more generous. Let's, as we said today, final redemption. When there's enough light in the cosmos, people will see more of what you and I are learning to see and seeing, and that's all it takes. When I see the benefit of my transformation, my turning exile into redemption, I want to keep going. And as other people see you doing the same thing and see the change in your life, they'll want to do the same. Okay. So let's do our meditation. This is one of the 72 names. You see the chart, there we go, behind me is the 72 names. Each one of these is a function button on our soul, activating another aspect, frequency of the light of the Creator inside of us. Yes, the Hebrew, the Aramaic letters are primordial. They are simply conduits, if you will, of the light of the Creator in different frequencies. And this combination, Mem, Tzadik, Reish, Mem, Tzadik, Reish, is the power of freedom. As we said today, redemption from chaos, to be able to exchange our desire for instant gratification to long-term fulfillment, our reactive behavior into proactive behavior. So as the eyes are the window to the soul, let the shapes simply be engraved in your mind's eye. The light that shines from them awakens the power of freedom, redemption inside you. Mem, Tzadi, Reish. Okay. So I ask you to sit comfortably in your seat, hands on your lap, feet flat on the floor. Begin to relax into the infinite light of the Creator that's within you and all around you. Breathe in through the nose. Let this breath fill you from head to toe. And as you exhale through your mouth, letting go of the tension, blockages, whatever's weighing heavy on your mind and your heart. Breathing in the infinite light of the Creator. Let it cleanse from head to toe. Negativity, heaviness, exhale through your mouth to be able to relax into this infinite light of the Creator. Activating more of the light inside you. Giving you a greater sense that you are purely, truly a being of light. Allow yourself to feel this peace. Feel wrapped, enveloped in the warmth of the infinite, unconditional love of the Creator. The warmth of this infinite light of true, lasting fulfillment, peace, and unity, comforting you, embracing you, feeling more and more safe, protected, empowered. Think of an area in your life that you feel trapped, in bondage, in exile from your true self, disconnected from that pure being of light inside you and the infinite blessings of that light. And in order to create redemption from the blockage and the chaos, the bondage to that illusion and chaos, we envision together, just above our heads, this name of God, Mem Tzadi Resh. See a beam of light that's originating in the endless world, shining down and activating the light through the Mem Tzadik Resh. See those nanoparticles of the light of the Creator, primordial forces shining with brilliant white light. Feel the vibration that's emanating from them. Already getting a sense of freedom, freedom from bondage, freedom from chaos, freedom from confusion. Mem Tzadi Resh. And together we allow that name of the Creator, Mem Tzadik Resh, to enter into the top of our head. As it enters through the top of your head, it's illuminating, raising the vibration of the light in every cell of your being. As it enters into your brain, your conscious mind, allow the light, Mem Tzadik Resh, to activate on a higher, more clear level the voice of your soul. That the voice of your soul can now speak to you with a greater desire of yours to hear it. You hear it more clearly, inspiring you, guiding you, directing you, the actions to take, the words to say, and the light to shine out from your heart and soul into those areas that you've had this confusion, you've had this discomfort, you've had this chaos. Your soul speaking louder and more clearly. Listen, record, keep it with you. And now allow the Mem Tzadik Resh to continue from your head through the rest of your being, especially as it gets to your heart, awakening that sense of the final redemption, true freedom from chaos. Allow this power, Mem Tzadi Resh, to break open the prison doors that have been sitting in your heart of anger, hurt, resentment, guilt, shame, judgment, jealousy, ego. Allow the light, enhanced with Mem Tzadi Resh, to shine out of your heart. Freedom from that bondage, freedom from that chaos. Allowing your soul to be free, to reveal more light and blessings in your life, to give you greater clarity when the challenges come your way, that it's an opportunity for you to break another gate, another prison door. It's giving you the strength, the motivation to shine light through all the people, all the circumstances, wherever you've had chaos, difficulty, confusion. That you can shine the light out of your soul that takes away darkness forever. Take note of this greater sense of peace and serenity that's awakening in you now. Shine this light of freedom from your heart, soul, and mind out to the heart and soul and mind of your friends and family, your acquaintances, your colleagues at work. Help support their freedom from their bondage, enhancing the strength of their soul that's awakening in them to overcome their desire to receive oneself alone, reactive, prison-creating behaviors. Help them feel the greater desire to be free from their prison of selfishness, tree of knowledge, good and evil, chaos, and greater desire for the tree of life, eternal peace, blessings. And see the Mem Tzadik Resh shining its light out from them to the heart, soul, and mind of every human being on earth. That every person has this awakening, the value of freedom from chaos. Millions and billions of times more valuable to each person than the small amount of light, instant gratification, short-term fulfillment that has been the power behind all of our reactive behavior, all of our self-centered negativity. We envision together in unity all people on earth acting with greater love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, gratitude, generosity, humility. Freedom from the illusion of separateness of human beings to the truth of the unity and oneness of all humanity, all interconnected on the one soul internet. Mem Tzadi Resh. Freedom from all illusion. Freedom to see, live the unity, peace, oneness that the Creator gave us the ability to have. And that we now, in unity, in oneness of consciousness, commit ourselves to persevere, shining the light unconditionally, to remove all the darkness of illusion, chaos, confusion, suffering. Mem Tzadi Resh. redeeming all of us from the exile, from the Garden of Eden, to the redemption and the return to peace on earth, heaven on earth, paradise of the Garden of Eden. Remember all that you've seen, felt, and experienced. Remember what your soul has inspired you with, the guidance and the clarity. Anchoring this in our heart, soul, and mind. We take one more deep breath that it'll stay with us forever, this consciousness. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you for joining us today. May we all be blessed with freedom from bondage, redemption from our chaos, for you, me, and the whole world. Have an amazing day, evening, a great week. May we all be greater conduits, beacons of light to everyone that we encounter, and just emanating our light to everyone on earth. God bless.
Thank you for joining us. If you were inspired and enjoyed what you saw, click the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we put new videos. Also, share it with people. Let other people benefit from this wisdom to change their life for the better also. And if you haven't yet, go to the website www.kabbalah.com, spelled Kabbalah, and peruse the hundreds and thousands of classes and articles we have on a variety of Kabbalistic subjects to help inspire you, motivate you, and help you transform your life. And if you would like to support us and help us expand our programs, this program, Spiritual Sunday, and the other projects of the Kabbalah Center, then see the donation link in the description. And thank you for your support. Have a blessed day.